With thanks to a donor, we at the Lion's Den Shed, Cliffe Castle, have been given a number of Airfix model kits to build. In my case, I selected the Russian T34, which was a game changer on the Eastern Front and probably was the single most important piece of equipment that the Russian armed forces ever fielded during World War II. So before we carry on any further, we will do the reveal. So just hold on for one moment. Thank you. Here we have the contents. We've got a very comprehensive set of instructions, much improved from the earlier days of Airfix. So very detailed instructions. The kit itself is 1/76th scale, which equates to double O gauge on a railway. We have a set of parts, which I shall just open for you. So here we are. We have a nice, easy to attach plastic track part. Then we have the various shell components plus all the wheels, and so I shall begin to carry out construction in just a moment, and I will keep you up to date. Keep watching. Here we are over in the modelling studio. I'm going to describe some of the more common tools used when building a plastic construction kit, whether it be Airfix, Tamiya or any of the other major brands. The first and foremost is to have a very good quality so-called side nipper. This is for removing the parts from the sprue. That is the thing called the sprue. Also, we're going to need a sharp craft knife. This will help to clean off any sprue remnants on the component. Following on from that, I normally use a very nice little flat file. This does all the final polishing off, and then the other item, should I have one, just bear with me while I search. We have a nail file polisher. These are exceptionally good for getting the surface back to normal. Okay, so I'll start construction now and I will report back to you later. Bye bye. Here we have the first side of wheels complete and on the frame. It's important to show you at this stage the name of some of these. The small one to the front of the vehicle, any armoured fighting vehicle, is called the idler wheel. Then at the rear we have the much larger drive wheel. Now the detailing of these is in no way comparable to a 1/35th Meng or 1/35th Tamiya, where these are highly detailed. The 5 wheels in the centre are called road wheels, and these are normally rubber rimmed. Again, detailing is not that good, and these on a 1/35th are the very last things you should put on, because towards the back there is where you want to put road dirt, mud, anything like that, snow, depending on the sort of era or place that the vehicle is going to be fighting. The side is resting against something I could heartily recommend. That is the Umbrol Precision Poly Cement with the nice little fine nozzle at the end, which does need to be cleaned out regularly with a piece of fine wire. Also, these these nice little forceps by EMC. These are very good for putting on small components. So I'll carry on, do the second set of wheels, and then I will be back with you shortly. I've now attached the top and the bottom half of the hull together, and this gives me an opportunity to correct a blooper. I actually mean highly recommend for the umbrail, not hardly. Another little tip at this stage is for any large seams along vehicles or airplanes, it's always useful to run a line of this cement along the edge. Bear in mind that this cement is not a glue. It actually melts the material, and it makes it as smooth as you see. As you do that, then that will melt the plastic, and it will make it almost indivisible. So, and another thing is always replace the cap on there like that. So at this point I will go away and fit all the other little bits together and be back with you again shortly. Okay, we've reached the stage now where we fitted the external parts to the top of the tank hull, such as the fuel tanks, which again, those are being sanded down, and we have showing yet another one of our little tools. These little clamps are very useful, for example, holding the bits together like that. Whoops. Now we have completed the main build. As you can see from the video, there are two turrets. The earlier version, the T34 76, had a main weapon of 76mm. This was produced from 1940 onwards, but was a complete top secret. The Germans did not know of its existence until they launched Barbarossa in June 1941. The T34 outclassed, outgunned, out-everythinged any tank that the Wehrmacht had at the time. And it took them quite a while before they got catch up with the Mark V Panther. The later version of the T34 was the T34/85, and that carried an 85mm armament, and then was able to head up against the 88mm Panther. I haven't attached the tank tracks yet, because that will be the last thing I do after I've painted and weathered the vehicle. So that is it for now, until we start to commence painting and weathering of the vehicle. We've now reached the stage of painting our T34. The first thing that we should always do is to wash the components in warm soapy water. This removes all the factory grease. In my case, I always assemble the vehicle first and then wash it, because then you take away all the grease from your skin. So that's just a little foible of mine. The other thing I've done is to use standard automotive grey primer, which amazingly has brought out such fantastic fine detail, rivets, etc., which I shall be weathering in due course. Now, the other product that I've used is called, here we go, get it in shot, plastic putty. Plastic putty fills all those little joins that don't quite fit together 100% correctly. So as you can see, we've got the two turrets, the 76 and the 85. Now I'm going to proceed work on the 85, and I'll leave the 76 untouched, so we can see how it goes on as I progress. I'm also going to battle damage the 76, experiment with a shell straight through the turret, and we'll see how that goes. It's probably not too good for the crew, but we'll see. So anyway, we will be shortly going on to the stage of rounding off the plastic putty, and then using my Vallejo and it's got, just a second, Russian uniform, World War II, which just happens to be the right shade for the armoured fighting vehicles as well. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Bye bye. Closure of the rubber tank tracks. There is absolutely no indication in the instructions of how this should be done. So I will jump in straight away and say that the best way to do it is to join the two together like I've done with some clamps, inserting the two prongs into the appropriate holes on the other side. Then you take this to a suitable point of heat, such as a gas cooker, and warm the tip of a screwdriver and melt the rubber, and this forms a nice bond. I belt and braces this with a drop of super glue on both entry and exit points. I'm sure this is why they haven't given you instructions, because it's not quite health and safety. Okay, thank you very much. Quite a change this evening. The last video closed with the out shopping of the T34 85 from the factory in mint condition green. Now, fast forward in 2 years, we now have the vehicle participating in one of the major offensives of 1945 on the Vistula Oder front. And we now, unfortunately, the T34 has reached the end of its working life, and I'm also showing not necessarily skills, but my ability to create a diorama. And here we have a snowy scene with the T34 with various holes punched through it by the Flak 88. And some unfortunate red trails as well leaving the vehicle. So we shall cut the story short for now, and hopefully we'll return when it gets a bit darker for another video. Thank you for watching this series of builds of the Airfix T34 stroke 85. It's actually dark enough to show something I've been experimenting with today. Oh, the tank is still on fire. I hope you can see the effects of the certainly two punched holes. We've got the fire light inside the tank flickering away there quite nicely. Okay, so that's it. That's the completion of my build of the Airfix T34 together with my diorama building. I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. Welcome back soon.